And you can see over here that it's basically the time is updated now. It looks looking different. So basically, I believe. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And this is going to be the next part of our Notes app series. So in this video, we are going to implement the rest of the functionality. There has been some nitpicking that we needed to do. We'll add delete functionality. We'll add some description, like updating the design. There has been some UI issues and a lot more. So we'll be fixing that. So without wasting any time, let's just get started. Okay, so there are some issues specifically on the dark mode side for iOS, and also if I run Android, it looks like this for now. I would want something, a little bit good looking. So this is basically my Android and iOS. But let's say let's do something else. I believe when I get over here into this profile session, you don't see anything. But in over here, you can see. Okay, I don't have a account logged in, so I need to log in the account as well. So I'll log in, and then let's submit that so that we can log in. And now let's say when I go back over here, you will see that it shows it, but in iOS we don't see it. And the reason is because there is some sort of theming issue, like I discussed previously as well. And what else? Also, I'll basically, if you remember, we basically add a title, and also along with the title, we add some sort of text for this as well. But right over here, what we are doing is that we are not adding that text into that as well. So we'll be doing that as well. And what else is there? I think description, and then there's a delete functionality that we also want that. So these are a couple of things. So we'll do one by one. The first thing is that we need to fix the iOS issue, like this one. We need to fix this design. So if I go over here into this compose app section and go to the source, common main, Kotlin, and the UI part, where feature part, where we have this authentication screens, home screen, and profile screen. So if I go to the home screen, you will see that this home screen is basically created under the scaffold. Okay, and we have this bottom sheet and all that uh, functionality for that as well. We don't need the floating action, but just the scaffold part. Okay, so now if I go over here into the sign in screen, you see I don't have that scaffold over here, right? So what I'll do is that the first thing we can do is that we can like enclose everything inside the scaffold first. Let me just take everything. So let's take everything and place it inside the scaffold. We are not doing anything else, just the scaffold thing. And also like this whole section, since it's basically part of it, I'm gonna do one more thing, and I'm gonna place them inside a box, because I want to add the padding that basically scaffold gets along with, because that there is some sort of padding from the navigation bar and the status bar that scaffold uses give us, and that's basically will help us. Okay, so that is basically something I'm gonna do over here, and I'm gonna make sure, just in case, fill max size. So yeah, so that is something I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna just copy this section again and go to the sign up screen. Now inside the sign up screen, we have pretty similar implementation. So I'm gonna add that, and then in the bottom we are gonna add the two closing braces. So now this is also inside that. Third one is the user profile section. Again, you'll see that we don't have a scaffold over here, so I'm gonna add that scaffold and box, and then in the bottom we'll be implementing this. Done. The home screen is already there, and what else? I think there is nothing left. So now when I run this on iOS, I'm hoping that we should, like, the design issue that we had on iOS should get fixed. So let's see if it actually gets fixed or not. Okay, now we go to the profile section. Now you see that basically this is there, and the dark mode is working pretty fine. And other than that, also, I think uh, it will work for the rest of the screen as well. Okay, so now we have this implementation. Now what we want is that we want some sort of more design implementation, for example, to show the description, and also maybe a time for the note as well. and along with that, we'll also be allowing the user to add, some sort of description, or sorry, like the delete functionality into that as well. Okay, so let's just do that as well. So to implement that, what we need to do is that we need to go to the home screen, and inside the home screen, you'll remember we had, yeah, this is the list note screen. So this is basically the section, and over here you will see that we have this note item that have just only this text and nothing else. So the first thing is that I need an internal padding to be a little bit more than what it's now. So I'm gonna add it to 16, like make it 16 at least. That's one thing. Second thing is, like I mentioned, we need to add some sort of spacer. So I'm going to say modifier dot size, and that size is going to be at least 8 dp. So that's that. And then we will be using a description for that, and that description is supposed to be node dot description. Font size is going to be smaller than the one it we have, and the color should be black. So that's that. And what else? Like I said, we might need a delete functionality, but we can implement that later on. So that's basically now something like this for now. I'm now gonna run this. Okay, it's executing. So you see that basically that the description is also there, but it's like overriding because we are using a box and not a column or something. So if I use a column, it should fix everything, right? So, oh, come on, it's not table info dot column. It should be the composable column. So now if I use this, you will see that this issue will be fixed, and you'll be able to, see that proper design. Okay, perfect. Now you see we have this descriptions and notes. The notes are looking like now a little bit better than the way it were looking. And the next thing that we want is to add a delete button on the side, and we can just click on that to delete that note. So let's just implement that functionality. So to implement that functionality, what I did is basically I went to the icons8.com, where you can get a lot of free, icons, and you can find whatever color, whatever design you like, and apply that different stuff. I basically like this one, so I'm just downloading that, and I'll download this. And now you know that how basically you can just place it. So basically, I just downloaded that, and now I'll basically place that item. So I'll just copy that, and we go over here into the source, common main, resources, drawable, and then paste that resource over here so that we have that delete icon as well. Now we go over here into the section, and now, like I said, we need that icon. So for that, we need a raw. The raw is supposed to be, sorry, what happened? Yeah, we'll be using the same text title inside that, and along with that, we'll also use the image. So you can use an image, say painter resource, and then you'll see res dot drawable dot delete. This is the item that we added, and then you are gonna say content description, that is going to be null. Okay, and along with that, you can add some more stuff. So I'm gonna say modifier dot size, that is going to be at least 48 dp. Okay, and then it is also clickable as well. So like when it's clickable, we should be able to implement some sort of clicking functionality on that. Along with that, we'll also add some padding, so like it just should not be showing us the full whole big image. And that's that. Okay, now that is that done, and we also need to do one more thing, and that is basically, just in case if the title is smaller, we should always place that button on the right side. So I'm going to say modifier dot weight 1f. So when I apply this text 1f, what it will do is that it will uh, allow this item to place, and then after that, whatever space is left, it will cover along with that. So that's why basically we'll make sure that the image is always on the right side, and the empty space is basically taken by the text of the title. Also, you might want to add some sort of spacer. So let's say if the text size is bigger, we should have some spacing along with that. And other than that, what do we need? I think that's pretty much okay. So now let's just run it and see if it shows that delete icon on top. And again, I'll pull my iOS app. Okay, perfect. And you can see it's clickable as well, right? So now the delete button is there, and I think it's slightly fell down, like it's looking a little bit down in terms of where we have placed it, perhaps because of the alignment. So I can say vertical alignment as well. And the next thing would be to basically implement the delete functionality. So for that, what you need is that you need a view model. Right now, we don't have any view delete functionality. So I'm going to say on delete, and I'm going to add that note. So yeah, on delete, it should be something like this. So now I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna say on delete dot invoke, and I'm gonna pass the note item that we have right now. From where we are basically calling it, it will also be complaining. So you can always say this, but I'm not gonna not use this. Instead, I'm gonna say that we are gonna use this only, and I'm gonna say on delete note unit like this. Okay, so we'll basically go take it up there. Okay, we have this complaining about this as well. Let's just, oh, sorry, not here, instead over here. Okay, right. Now we'll go over here and the home screen where we are calling it. You see that we have this issue. So now over here, I'm going to say what's happening. Okay, now we don't have the delete note function. So I'm going to add that. And now we need to basically just delete that. So I'm going to say view model scope dot launch, and now we have the DAO. So I'm going to say DAO dot soft delete. Now make sure to always soft delete that, and you're going to say it dot id. And for this, I'm going to pass that, which means that basically it will show that updated time. Okay, so now we have implemented that, and once that is done, we can also perform sync as well, so that it basically sync it with the backend. And what else? Yeah, I think that's that. Now we can run this once again. Now you see that we have this. Now let's say just delete, try to delete this one. I'm gonna delete that, and now when I delete it, you'll see that basically it got deleted. And let's just do the sync, and you see it's deleting from here as well. Now let's just run the same thing over here in the Android side as well, right? So we'll just run that. Okay, so now on Android, you also see that the design got updated. We have this delete button, and you can just delete anything like this. Okay, so yes, that's basically that. Other than that, you can also implement, let's say, if you have anything, any other idea of like having notes kind of, in a checklist form and all that. These are the future functionalities that you can do. But for now, I think that's more than enough. So now, okay, so there's one more thing left, and I believe we should also add that, and that is basically the date on which it's basically created. Because right now, you see, we don't have that, so we need to have some sort of date for that as well. And to show the date, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go again to the list notes section, and over here, let's add another spacer, and 8 dp spacer. And in the bottom section, now this time what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna make sure that we align this stuff into to the end of that. So I'm gonna say fill max width. That's one thing, and then we are gonna say text align, and then say text align dot end, so that it goes to the end of that section. And description, instead of description, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna say when it was updated. Okay, now let's run it. So now when you run it, you will see on Android. that it shows the, the time and date, but like there is some problem. The problem is this t first. Basically you have this t, and then we have also like this all the rest of the stuff as well, like 1911 is fine. So what we are going to do is that we are going to make sure that we format this into a better implementation. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to format it properly. Like this is not the ideal thing. Okay, so how do we format that? So basically to format that we'll need some sort of iOS and Android specific implementation. So I'm going to create a new class, and let's just create a class over here. Create a new package, call it utils, right? And then inside that util, let's go over here and create a Kotlin class and call it what should we call? We should call it date utils. Okay, and that is going to be a class. And I'm gonna say expect class util, and then we're gonna create an expect function format date. And then over here what we need is that we need to pass two things. One is the time that we want to format, and the second one would be the pattern. So I'm going to say instant as a instant, and along with that we'll also pass a pattern to this. This is basically a default pattern that we will be showing. We might don't want this like that. Like it's totally up to us how we want that. And then we have the string. Now we need to implement both functionality, so you can say like implement that for iOS. We are going to do that over here like this. And now it will say we need some sort of experimental up for that. And we also need to implement that date util for Android as well. So let's just go over here and go that like this. Okay, so both of the Android and iOS implementation is like the actual functionality is there. Now what we need to do is that we need to implement the actual implementation. So there's just one mistake I think I did, and that is basically I need to make it an object. The reason I'm gonna make it object because I'm gonna use it. I need that uh, for this, for also for iOS as well. Where is, yeah, it should be object. Okay. Now for Android, it's pretty simple. For Android, what we need to do for Android, it's just like we can create a wall um, date formatter. Formatter is equals to date formatter, simple date format, right? And over here you are going to pass the pattern, and along with the pattern you can pass the locale. So I'm going to say locale java.util.locale.get default. So that is the default locale for that. And then we will be using uh, the creating the date, and then the date formatter will format us along with the pattern. That's basically something we will be doing for Android. For iOS slightly different, so let's just use for iOS as well. I'm going to say wall ns date is equals to ns date, and over here I'm going to pass that instant dot to epoch millisecond, and then I'm going to say something like this. Now let's just import ns date over here. Now we have the ns date over here. Now the next thing would be to create a formatter. So I'm gonna use just the ns date formatter. You can just get rid of that, just import it this way. And now the last part would be to basically format, and then we will be formatting this through this. Right, so once we are done with this, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go over here into this section where we are using this updated at. Now what we can do is that we can go to the date util, date utils dot format date. And now what we need is that we need an instant. So I'm gonna say instant dot parse, and I'm gonna use note dot updated at dot to epoch millisecond, and we also need to pass the pattern for that as well. Oh, sorry, we don't need that to epoch milli, and that is basically we should be doing. And now once we do that, hopefully this will work. And let's just use ddmm/yy along with the time. I think it should be A as well for AM and PM. Now, okay, something's wrong. Okay, so now it has executed, and now you can see that it's basically converting the 8 November 2025 10:06 p.m. AM and then 11 and like different dates. And now let's say if I try to add something right now, let me just add some items. Okay, A, B, C, D. This is test to see what time does it store. Now we save that. So when we save that, you can see that it basically saved the correct time, which is 10:30 a.m. right now and 8 November. Okay, so I believe this is working as expected. Now the next thing would be to check it on iOS as well if the iOS is also working. So let's just run on iOS as well, and hopefully that will work as well. And then we are good. I think then this will basically be the completion of this video. Okay, it got executed successfully, and you can see that we are having a proper time for that as well. Now let me just add one thing for 10:31 as well. So I'm gonna add this is for iOS time test, for 10:31. Save that, and now you see that it's basically saving the same time and properly. So I think this is how, or this is what we wanted, and this looks good. We can definitely reduce the size of the date and time because it looks like slightly bigger, which it shouldn't. And yes, and I also think the format date that we are passing, it should be H8, the smaller one, so that we have the 12 hour. Uh, so we have like that format in 12 hour, because right now it's showing 00 something, which is not correct. Yeah, this is fine now. 12, and then over here, this is also 12:06 a.m. So I think we are good now. Everything is working as expected. We have done pretty much what we wanted. And now what we are gonna do is that we are gonna deploy that to Play Store and see if it gets approved and if we can like make it used by people. We can reduce the size, like I promised. We can reduce the size a little, and you can see over here that it's basically the time is updated now. It looks looking different. So yeah, that's I think pretty much we wanted. And the next thing would be to basically deploy it to the Play Store. So hopefully when you're watching this video, this app would be approved. If not, I'll share a separate video for that in the next video. And I'll also attach the link to the Play Store, so from where you can download it and try it out as well. So thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, happy coding. Bye. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you don't forget any update. If you got any question, you can join my Discord server. The link is in the description. Also, for quick updates and tips, you can follow me on Instagram. Until next time, keep learning, keep developing. Bye.